Hello and welcome to the Illinois Science Assessment Test Administrator Training for the 2019 Spring Administration. The ISA test is administered through the ISB Learn platform. This is delivered through a secure exam browser, and it will be launched for students in a similar fashion as the IAR test was administered. Students would not log into a Chromebook. Instead, they will click on Apps and launch 2019 ISA in order to access the online exam. Teachers or test administrators will use the ISB Teach platform to monitor test activity. This is web-based but does require a secure username and password. It's important that you have it open, not to unlock tests, that's not required in ISA, but to ensure that students are actually completing and submitting the test properly. To prepare for the ISA test, I recommend that you navigate through the practice tutorial. That is a link right here. It's web-based. It does not require a login. In fact, if you click on it, it'll take you to the link right here. This is off the ISB website, and it will give you a little bit of information, then you can start the tutorial. Specifically, I want to point out that all students, regardless of IEP or 504 status, will receive both the line reader and text-to-speech accessibility tool. This is also not a timed test. It is recommended that you give a minimum of 45 minutes for completion, but students could potentially use the whole day to test if they wanted to. The test just cannot extend beyond one school day. When you click on the Start Tutorial, you'll notice that the platform begins to mimic and look exactly like the actual testing platform. Once you go in, you will have sample questions that are actually not related to science at all, but it allows you to answer different questioning types and try out some of these accessibility features as you see here. You can simply close this out when you're done. I also recommend that you access the ISA tutorial teacher information. You can certainly click right here on this image and it will take you there. All of these documents are going to be available in the ISA Test Administrator folder that is in Google Drive. This is a short document. I believe it's only about 17 pages, but it goes one page per slide and shows you exactly what students would need to do once they're in the tutorial. I also recommend that you read the professional testing practices for educators. This is very similar for those of you that have administered IAR. This is very similar to the test administrator manual, but it is not nearly as long. You can also access that from the folder on Drive or by clicking the link through the slideshow. This document, 16 pages, will go over everything from test security to how to prepare students and prohibited test practices. Pretty much everything that you would need to know is in this document. And I'm going to highlight some of the key points today. We have also created, as required by organization administrators for the ISA and ISA security plan. You can also access this from here or from the Drive. And this specifically says who in this building has what role, what does their role require them to do, as well as chain of custody procedures, how you will check tickets in and out, or they're called access codes, but that's basically their testing ticket, as well as how do you handle test refusals, what is our school policy, what are prohibited activities, and so on. Okay, so before you start your test, and this is before the actual day, so within a week, before testing, these are things that you need to check off. If you are a teacher of science, you need to cover any science-related content that would be displayed in your testing location. If in doubt, cover it up. You also need to take time to go through the tutorial with your students. Please make sure you have enough headphones. Every student will need headphones. They can choose whether to use text-to-speech or not, but they need to be provided headphones. Please make sure that you have a Chromebook cart reserved during your testing time. Again, in the ISA Test Administrator folder in Drive, you will have access to our testing schedule. Please make sure that each student has a book to read on the day of testing. That is a district-wide policy that when testing is complete, they are to close their Chromebook, turn in the materials, and get out their book to read. Please practice logging into ISB Teach. Everyone has received login credentials. If you have any difficulty getting in, please contact me and I will assist you with that. You may want to consider room placement for when you're testing. Think about the number of students that you have on your roster for testing, and how are you going to arrange them so that they cannot see each other's screen, or perhaps rearranging students that may struggle sitting next to certain kiddos. Make sure you have scratch paper ready, perhaps even pencils. If students write anything on the paper during the test, that becomes secure material and you are required to collect it so that we can properly shred it. And then attend mandatory training, which you're doing right now if you're watching this video, and you will sign the security agreement, which you will receive from me after you have completed this webinar. Please make sure to read the required material that was stated on previous slides, and communicate with the school principal any students who plan to refuse training per our security plan and school policy. This must be in writing from the parent, that the student and the parent have had this conversation and they both agree that the child is going to refuse to participate. On the day of testing, you will want to make sure that you check out your secure materials from the office. Ideally, that is done in the morning, but then once they are with you, you must have a secure place where you can keep them until testing begins. Testing secure materials may not stay in your room overnight. They must be returned before the end of the school day. Please double check access codes. I will make sure that there's an access code for each student on your roster, but it always pays to double check as well that no mistakes were made. Please distribute scratch paper and testing devices prior to testing, and certainly make sure every child enters your room with a book so they don't have to leave to go get one. You need to make sure students check their sound prior to logging in. Use pages 48 and 49 from the systems user guide for logging into the platform. I will make sure that this document is in the ISA Test Administrator folder. Please make sure that you constantly circulate the room during testing to make sure everybody is on task and in the right place. Do not let anyone in your room that has not signed the security agreement and received mandatory training. After testing is complete, you need to check ISB Teach to ensure that all students have properly submitted the exam. You also need to collect devices and secure materials. Make sure that students are reading quietly. Please allow at least 45 minutes for test completion and return all secure materials before the end of the day. In order for students to exit ISB Learn after they are have completed testing, they will need to power off the Chromebook. That is the end of our training. If you have any questions, certainly let me know. I highly recommend that you log in to ISB Learn prior to the start of test administration so that you can get comfortable with the platform and how to locate information. Thank you.